Clear Shots is brought to you by Pinecast. Use the code R-63F8FB to get 40% off your first 4 months.
Don't give them clear shots. Don't give them clear shots. Don't give them clear shots. Don't give them clear shots.
Like, my bank account said that I had like $30-something in it, and then we went to Wendy's and I tried to buy my meal, and it didn't work. You know what probably took the
They're
money
like,
out?
yeah, we can swipe this card again, but it's going to close your account. If we do
it's going to lock my account out. And I'm like, no, it's fucking not.
Why
What
would
are you
that
talking
do that? I don't
about?
understand.
No, they just wanted to get us the fuck out of there.
Right.
Because we were holding up an entire fucking county's worth of people in line. There were like 8 or 9 cars behind us. We were there for like 10 minutes. Because my card didn't work. And it, like, the app said that I had the money, and then when we left, it was maybe like 10 minutes later where I checked it again and it was updated, and instead of having like, it was like $40 or $50 in my account, it went down to like $6.50.
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
It was weird because at Wendy's we did 2 separate orders, but they only gave us one. So I just pulled up a little bit more, so the back window was there.
Yeah.
The window. Jake's like sitting in the back seat on the other side of the drive-in window.
The original girl at the drive-thru register we were talking to was getting so flustered, and she called a manager over, and she was like this wicked fat redheaded bitch, and she was leaning out of the window yelling at me and being like, "Why don't you have cash on you?" Like, fuck me, right?
Because I
I'm
have
just
a
trying to
card
go
on
to
me.
Wendy's. Why would I bring cash? Like, that's the fuck you. It's 2018.
Yeah.
Wendy's cash only.
And then they got really pissed
Piece
when
of
I was
shit, get
just like, I go, if you want to hold the food, we'll go to the ATM. They're like,
Do they have any places that are card only? Because I've seen cash only once in a while. Certain places like Rudy's.
Toronto.
That'd be funny. High-end restaurant.
Yeah.
God,
All of Toronto.
Only credit cards. MasterCard only.
Snap cash only.
only take Visa, no cash.
$2 only.
I mean, places that are cash only are living in the past, man. How expensive is it to get a card swiper?
Dude, that's how I feel whenever I go to a bar on the east side, because there's not a single bar on the east side that takes credit cards. But they all have ATMs that charge you like $4 a piece. Like $4 a transaction.
I've never opened like a bar tab or anything like that, so I just pay for a beer and
Have
that's
a
it.
beer.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just go to the gas station and get it there and bring it home and drink by myself.
Yeah. I usually just pay in Bitcoin.
I usually pay in sexual flavors.
Sexual flavors.
Sexual flavors, yeah.
Like old fish and...
Yeah. Vanilla.
Dude, you know what ruined me today? There's this girl I work with. Her name may or may not be Emily, but she's fucking drop dead sexy. She's got a boyfriend. But I flirt with her all the time because, you know,
He knows now.
fuck him. I'll beat him up. And even if he had 1,000 knives, I'd beat him up.
Yeah, even if he had a prosthetic arm with a knife attached to it.
Yeah, and a gun knife.
Yeah.
But, no, so we were talking and we were walking down the hallway together talking about this new resident we have that's in. She's like, oh, her diet's this and this, write this down. I'm like, all right. We get in the elevator together, and for like 2 seconds, the elevator smells like an elevator. And we're sitting there talking, and all of a sudden the elevator reeked of fish. And I will never be able to look her in the eyes ever again. You gotta clean your pussy, honey.
It was that bad that it was like...
It stunk up the whole elevator. Fish wasn't even on today. That was the worst part. I was like, oh, maybe Fish is on. No, Fish is not on today.
Holy shit.
It was like, she must have queefed, yeah. I was just gonna say.
Oh, it had to have been, yeah.
Fucking dog shit, man. Gassing me out.
Weird, too, because, like, I feel like queefs come from, like, something has to go in there first. Like, something has to push the air in. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think you can suck air in.
Oh, they can.
Can they?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, they can.
Have you ever seen a girl, like, suck water in her pussy and then,
So
like,
they can,
squirt
like,
it out?
So they can queef on demand if they want to.
That was a South Park
Some
episode.
guys can suck air into their asshole and fart on demand.
Bingo.
But how do you even fucking do that?
I don't know. I lay flat on my stomach and spread my asshole. And then I go...
Wouldn't it be funny if your lungs were like down here
Connected.
and your asshole is where you breathe from?
There's
Like you'd never be able to sit.
You would
I was out
never
at
you would never
stage.
be able to get fucked in the ass. You would just asphyxiate. Imagine if you had that complication. You just get
Your
fucked in
gag
the ass
reflexes in
and all
your
of a sudden
ass somehow.
freaking there's this chick out at
the
stage,
pneumonia.
and she was talking about like how she puts drugs up her ass rather than eating them because
she plugs them.
so she doesn't have to taste them. And I was just sitting by a fire, and I hear her, and I just start laughing. And she's like, "You can't judge me."
Why can't she just plug her nose?
And I just am laughing, and I'm like, yes, I can. That's funny. Like,
Yeah.
that's just fucking funny. And she's like, no, it's not. How's that? Can't you be more mature? And I'm like, yo, freaking, if you told me that, like, when I was a little kid, oh, now you're bringing kids into this. And I'm like, no, I'm not. Like, oh my God, if you told me that when I was a little kid, that people are putting stuff up their butt to make themselves feel funny, I would have laughed.
Yeah.
It's like I knew a guy in college that loved putting drugs up his ass.
Good God.
His name was Eddie the Plug, because he used to plug himself. He never brought the drugs. He wasn't a plug, but he would plug himself, and it was so weird.
Right.
I remember we would we'd go to like a hookah bar or like go out. There was a bar in like wicked scummy Syracuse that you could just walk in and they'd serve you. And we went there to watch like an NBA playoff game. It was Houston versus the Clippers. It was when Houston came back. I think it was Game 6. And we were all taking... we snorted... oh my God. I can't remember. Butybidol.
What?
The fuck is that?
It's a barbiturate. It's like what they give... It's like what they give to fucking crazy people at mental hospitals to like calm them down. And so we snorted a bunch of that. And we also had...
Fair enough.
We also had Coke and Ambien. And we did Coke in the parking lot before we went into the bar. And then John gave us all Ambien, so he cut them all in half, just enough to get a little loopy on them. And I remember Eddie walked in the bathroom, and he was just like, oh yeah, I'm going to take care of it. And he went in the bathroom, and we're sitting there, and I'm like, why is he going to the bathroom? I go, we're only like 10 minutes away from campus. And I'm like, oh yeah, he puts all of his pills in his ass. And Eddie always got the most fucked up,
Yeah,
so maybe he's onto something.
of course.
It's got to be something to do with like...
Yeah, it absorbs it directly into the bloodstream.
In your
basically.
bloodstream, yeah. That's what Steve-O did.
It's a more direct passage. I mean,
Yeah.
it doesn't have to go through like anything really. There's like no filters. It's probably not as good for you, I would imagine.
No, you can only drink like one beer through your ass anymore. You'll get alcohol poisoning.
Right, because there's nothing filtering it. You don't. It doesn't go through your liver.
Yep.
Not a smart move, I would say.
Yeah, and I don't really want to
Yeah.
at all.
And plus, you have to buy a funnel, and you have to get on your back and put your legs up. I mean, it's a whole deal, you know.
Yeah.
It's not
crack it
really...
open and
It's
drink
not
it.
that hard.
Girls
to put
doing
something up your ass.
tampons, like soaked in vodka or whatever. Like, that's way more doable.
I've heard about that. Yeah.
The worst was, I remember...
Like, if you're already putting stuff up there, get fucked up.
I mean, I just don't
Put a
get-
mouse up there.
Why can't you just be? Why can't you just do it normal? Is it really that? Like,
It doesn't
does
taste
really-
that good.
Yeah, but just plug your nose, dude. Plug your nose.
Wait, what doesn't taste good?
Alcohol.
Plug your nose.
Oh, yeah.
That's all you
I don't know
gotta do.
anybody that butt chugs. I do know a girl. There's this woman that I work with in administration, and her daughter goes to University of Buffalo. And I remember when I used to smoke at work, so it was like a year ago, we were talking about it. And her daughter, the night before, had sent her a Snapchat video. And what they would do when parties started at this sorority is that they would all take pills of Xanax, put them in a shot glass, and then pour like a shot of Fireball or UV Blue. and
That's
take
such
it
a
all at
bad
once.
idea.
That's the worst idea of all time. That is the like when I tried to kill myself, the guide was take a bunch of Xanax, take a bunch of oxycodone, and drink a bunch of booze.
The guide.
The guy, yeah, I bought it off the Mechanist cookbook. But yeah,
Damn.
yeah, she was like, yeah, my daughter parties super hard, and I'm like, your daughter's gonna die or get raped because you're like, you black out off of just like 1 or 2 milligrams of Xanax. As soon as you put alcohol into it, man, you're done. I got banned from Gary's because of that.
Shit.
I banned myself from Gary's rather, but yeah. It's just people do weird shit to get high, man. I would do weird shit to get high. If they had like I like alcohol and I like THC. If they made snortable versions of either of those that I could buy, I'd be dead already. Like if I could snort powder to get drunk, oh my god, it'd be amazing. Snort, do a line and it's just like doing a dab.
I'm sure they could. There's got to be a way to figure that out.
Yeah.
You know, who's working on that, though? You know what I mean?
But, snorting stuff is just not good for your health. Take it from me. I've snorted. Have you guys seen all the stuff or heard of all the stuff I snorted?
Oh, yeah.
Ground up seashells was one of the worst ones. Frickin' blood coming out of my nose as soon as I did that one. Pop rocks was one of the greatest things I've ever snorted.
That seems pretty cool.
I've never heard something between my ears before I snorted pop rocks.
So it pops in your nasal passages.
It pops up in your head.
We do not advocate the insufflation of children's candy. Clear Shots Podcast, 2018.
It's everybody's candy.
The views expressed by Cassidy Barney are not necessarily.
I snorted one of those chalky bridal shower breath mints, and it actually got
like a hotel mint.
Yeah, and it broke up to literally be like the size of a trash can lid. Like if you went around.
Like the diameter of the line.
Yeah.
You have to physically walk around
the circumference, not the diameter, the circumference. Even longer. It's on YouTube somewhere.
Oh my god.
But yeah. Oh wait, no, I took that one down when I skated across the country.
You can't have that compromising you.
It had
you should have two separate channels, like Cass Snorts, like a snort channel where you just snort random shit.
There was
CB snorts.
It had over 30,000 views. The video.
Should monetize that shit.
I couldn't because they said it was not appropriate. The name of the video was "Longest Line Ever Snorted," and
that's a game winner right there, man.
It took off 30,000 views in like 6 months.
Did it not say that it was a hotel pillow mint?
Oh, I told in the video.
Oh, you should have been like, yeah, this was 2.3 grams of sassafras.
Oh, God. I did 7 of that one night.
Hoover and
were awful.
Hoover and Schneef.
I felt horrible the next few days.
Dude,
that's when I was in high school, when I felt invincible and I could snort anything under the sun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Now I actually do not do powders anymore. I've never done coke either.
Don't. It's amazing.
So out of all the things you've snorted, you've never done coke,
Yeah,
which is like the most conventional.
Yeah.
Well, I don't remember doing coke until much later.
Oh, tobacco guts out of a game. I snorted tobacco guts out of a game twice.
How did that go?
Wait, like cigarette?
The tobacco, when you're rolling a blunt and you take out the guts from a game.
Right.
The guts. I snorted those.
Like I know people that live down south. Like I have family down south, and one of them does snuff, which was the powdered tobacco that they snort.
Or yeah. Oh shit.
They don't sell it in New York. I think you have to buy it like online.
Wow.
Tobacco snuff. Yeah, it's like finely ground tobacco. That probably fucks you up. But so you didn't even grind them up or anything? You just snorted the straight up guts?
Yeah, pretty much. Like I kind of broke it up a little bit, but yeah, Tovar and Billy saw me do that. Rainbow sprinkles, wax out of a candle, ash out of from a fire. I had a list. It was like over 60 different things of random objects that I've snorted. Wood shavings.
What do you didn't just come up with the ideas? Like you would just see an item and be like, I should snort that. Like
yeah, at the time I was like
yeah,
I'm going to try to snort everything under the sun. And I was pretty stupid back then. So, yep.
Right. It's like an impulse snort.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. And it was mostly for a good laugh too, because it's like, oh my god.
I mean, yeah, that's hilarious.
Like it was fun. What else?
What's that? What's he doing? He's taking pictures.
Freaking
podcast pictures.
What else we got here? I forgot.
What was I think we've talked about this. We talked about it with somebody. You're a seasoned marijuana enthusiast.
Mm-hmm.
What was the first time you remember getting way too high?
At Big Wes's house.
Of course.
That's where my story is too. What's yours, bud?
So it was actually like I smoked a couple times before then, but I never really felt it or anything. Mm-hmm. And then finally, like, this time everybody like threw down on a blunt, and it was like Halloween. And this was one of Wes's first times actually smoking too. This was my first time smoking with Wes. Before, he was like really against it. Like I was kind of secret. Like, you'd keep it secret from Wes that you smoked.
Yeah.
For like a year or two.
because he didn't do it for a long time.
Yeah.
As far as I remember.
And
then he became like the main guy.
Biggest stoner.
I'm on Periscope. Say hi to Periscope.
What's up?
All right, there's a little nip slip.
Oh, NC-17 rating right there.
And we all are hitting this blunt, and then I start getting ridiculously high. And then Mike Phillips was playing the piano.
Philly, holy shit, I haven't seen him in a long time.
He was playing the piano, and he was amazing pianist.
Yeah, he was great.
And I'm sitting there on the couch right in front of the video game station there. And I'm like vegetabled, and I'm like, I remember thinking at one point, like, oh my God, if I ever had kids, I wouldn't let them do this. This is so insane. Because I was actually tripping, like, harder than I've ever tripped, but like just as hard as like other
psychoactive experience.
On weed?
Yes,
just pure weed.
Mm-hmm. The you know those pictures where it's like you're far away and it looks like somebody's face, and then you go up and then it's a bunch of random pictures and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Everything was like that except kaleidoscope. So everything was changing and stuff like that, but it was still making the image of you and stuff like that. It was like there was wall outlets and stuff like that, and then it would turn into a flower, and just a really like
I would have had a panic attack.
I definitely was, and then like I'm just so used to being drunk at that point, and I'm like, is this forever? Oh my God, it's been forever, and it's only been like a couple minutes or whatever.
Yeah.
I actually had to run outside. And I actually threw up just because of my mind being like so like used to drinking, and like, how do I get this out?
It's really crazy what THC can do. I mean, really, it's capable of a lot. And at high dosage, it's really, really crazy. And I think like people, when they talk about how safe marijuana is,
when you get used to it.
Yeah. But
here's
if you're
a cool
doing it
thing.
for the first time and you're getting hit like that, I don't know how safe it is.
Here's the thing, I think. So how can we get people to be able to like get to a point where it's like, yo, I could be smoking a joint while I'm driving any point in the day. It will not affect me. Like, and if it does, because I just took a shit ton of like other hits before or whatever.
Right.
So, but personally, I could smoke it like a cigarette. Some people definitely couldn't do it. So I think there should be, once they make it legalized in New York or whatever.
Well, especially now with how concentrated
Colorado.
things are.
Yeah.
I mean, it's entry level now doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Like it is, you jump into the deep end.
It's like with that one, the guy that opened for Bill Burr.
For a driving test. To be able to drive while you're on marijuana. To like, you go in and you take a bunch of dabs, you smoke a bunch of weed, then you take a driving test while like you're smoking whatever. And if you pass a driving test, now you have this special license. You're allowed to drive and smoke marijuana.
Yeah.
Like
I think weed does do different things to different people. It's that simple. I mean, people can handle it and people can't.
Yep.
I mean, there's some people that'll just have a panic attack after 2 hits.
I think that'd be a good way to get people to be able to like, oh, you want to drive and smoke legally? That's a way to do it.
Well, it was like we were all talking about it the other night. I think like from the time I got there, I had taken like 2 or 3 dabs, and then Nick and Bill showed up, and there was a bowl going around, and somebody handed me the bowl. I'm like, I can't. They're like, you're already baked. I'm like, I know. If I smoke weed,
that's the point.
I will freak the fuck out.
Yeah.
But I could take dabs all day and all night. I can go to work high as fuck and be perfectly fine, cook, communicate. But I'm just like,
you're used to the glide up and the glide down. Weed is a different angle of glide up and glide down.
Yeah, I was swimming last week and smoked a bowl while swimming, and I remember going underwater right after and then coming right up because I forgot that I couldn't breathe underwater. And I started coughing up water and shit. Like, that's what weed does.
It's very difficult to
It's
explain.
weird.
It's very difficult to explain to someone who's never done it what it does.
Yeah.
And you know, like, I think people know what
Have you guys
alcohol
smoked the
does.
CBD?
I haven't.
I have a few times.
I like it a lot. It makes me, like, it does all the stuff that I would smoke weed for. It takes the edge off my back and stuff like that. It gives me something to smoke.
Well, what's interesting, too, is the different ways you do it. It's different effects.
Yeah.
Like, we used to do that volcano vape with the big bag on it at the house. And that was a completely different feeling.
Yes.
You know, it was like a body thing where
It
you
lasts
were,
all day.
and you weren't, like, out of your mind, but you felt light and, you know, floaty, and you just felt, like, more relaxed.
Yeah.
The problem is there's no, like, I don't know if you guys have ever heard of the website called Erowid, but it's like a drug index database. And when I was doing different kinds of drugs all the time and experimenting and stuff, I'd always go there because it tells you what to expect.
Yeah, I remember
And it
there
has
was
people's stories on there, but it also, the big thing is they have a spreadsheet for dosages, specifically with pharmaceuticals. So if I had, like, oxycodone, I could type in the pill number and it would pop up, and it's like, oh, you have oxycodone, you have 20 milligrams, and it's like, you can take, if you weigh this much, you can take this much and feel this, and take this much and feel that. And it was like a whole chart. And it was like that. It's like that for, like, the first time I did acid, when I ran into you that night, like, I only did a tab and a half because it was like, well, if it's your first time, this is what you want to expect, and you, like, match up the X.
Yeah, that was funny. I was just skating by, and you're like, hey!
Yeah, I was walking
tripping.
down the street, and I thought, I was like, my guardian angel, and you're like, what? And I'm like, dude, I'm doing acid for the first time in my entire life. And then we, like, walked, like, a couple blocks, and then you went on your way, and then I watched Tombstone. It was pretty dope.
Oh, fuck yeah, that's a good movie.
But yeah, it's like, it's hard to do that with marijuana, because when you're buying weed, especially in a state like New York, when you're buying weed or dabs, there's no nutritional facts. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It doesn't tell
That's
you
the
what
thing
you're
with
Surgeon
Oregon
General.
right now. They're actually having a problem with edibles. They're not letting people sell edibles that are over 100 milligrams, which is like kind of stupid, because if you've ever had an edible, like, 100 milligrams is going to knock most people on their ass, but somebody like me or some of my friends I know, like, they're going to need at least 400 or
fucking
500.
Joey Diaz, the stars of death.
Like, I honestly have yet to eat an edible that has really put me on my ass, like, to the point where I'm like, I need to sleep. Like, I hate to say it, I have yet to see that.
Right. Whereas, so some people would probably just fucking
like, I
pass out.
if I can't find dabs, I'll find bud, and I'll make firecrackers, and I'll have firecrackers for like 3 days. And, like, even if it's, like, shitty bud, if I make a firecracker and I eat that at, like, 10 in the morning, I'm baked for, like, 10 hours straight.
Yeah, there was an app I used to use called, like, Leafly or
Yeah, it
Leafly
tells you
or
different
something.
strains.
Yeah, it has every different strain. It looks like a periodic table
Yeah.
kind of thing. And it shows you, like, what each strand, like, specializes in. And it's reviewed by by people, by users. So it'll be like, oh, this is pain relief, this is, like, head high, this is this and this. So that was kind of cool. But, like, the thing is, when you buy weed from some random guy, you don't really know what it is.
Yeah.
You really don't.
No,
Like, he could
and
be
then
like,
you get
oh,
into-
yeah,
you
this
get
is
into the
California
sketchy
Kush.
territory, yeah, where you, like, I remember in college meeting up with people, and I had friends that were selling, like, my roommate in college was selling large amounts, and part of the reason why he dropped out is because he was dealing with fucking Crips, like, in Syracuse.
Yeah.
And it was, like, weird, because he'd just be like, oh yeah, this is like Alabama Slamma.
Right, yeah.
You know what I mean?
But like I
Or,
said,
like,
it's-
there
it's
were
a-
strains that, like, oh, Green Goddess, and it's like, is it really Green Goddess, or is it just like Dro that's like bright green?
Purple,
what I mean?
purple train wreck.
You know,
and
it's not like
fucking-
you can tell. That's why it's like, I think it's so interesting in like Colorado where, like where the place Christy was working at, where you could do a tour of the store online and see what strains they had available and stuff like that.
Thing with Colorado, bud, it's a shit ton of chemicals. We actually have, around here, we actually have more organic bud than they ever will out there.
I would imagine so.
That's
and
good.
when
that's the thing about that's one of the things about legality too.
When it is legal here, we are going to have some of the best weed. Sour diesel was invented in Ithaca, so we got like some of the best conditions, and water is the most expensive thing when it comes to growing weed out in Colorado. We have all the fresh water and a bunch of water in the soil and stuff, so and then indoor.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, like I said, it's very difficult to explain it to people.
And like that guy that opened for Bill Burr was saying, he goes, if you didn't smoke pot when it was illegal, you shouldn't be allowed to smoke it when it becomes legal.
Yeah, Dean Delray.
Yeah, and I thought about it, and I agreed with that so hard. It's like the last thing I want to see is somebody that was like super straight edge and scared of smoking weed, and then all of a sudden it becomes legal.
Who gets blown out of the fucking water by it.
Yeah, that too. Know? It's like Louis C.K. has a bit about it, how he hadn't smoked weed since before his kids were born.
Right.
And he smoked weed for the first time after they were like, you know, preteens, and they were like at their mother's house or something. And he talked about how he smoked weed with these like teenagers or 20-year-olds or whatever after a show, and how he fucking freaked out.
It's gonna be harder and harder to find just regular fucking like Duro or something.
Yeah, we were talking about that recently, I think.
Because it used to be like you could just find somebody most people had Duro, like they wouldn't even.
It was just bum weed,
the
dude.
Tenergy,
yeah, and you'd get like a fucking dime. Dime bags probably don't even exist anymore.
No, dude. I know there's dealers I know in Oswego that if you ask them for a dime, they'll even
blow you off.
They'll read your message and
I would imagine,
yeah. It's like if
they
you're
only
trying to
making
buy
$10
weed, you have to buy at least like a dub.
You're spending more money driving to them than you are fucking. You're not gonna make $10 back. You're only making
like,
$10.
I remember one of the guys I was trying to get a dime off of, and he goes, "What if I just roll you a blunt with a dime in it?" It's like, no. I go, I don't need that. I don't need it all at once. I just want a dime bag.
Yeah.
I remember there was something so fun and risky about buying weed when you were younger.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like meeting up with a guy, not knowing if he's legit or not, going through the motions, learning. I learned how to conversate with people through buying drugs.
I think that'll be
like if I never liked drugs, I would have no social skills.
Hey, I don't think it should be legal because other people are going to just be able to go to a store and buy it, and I think they need to be able to force themselves to talk to people.
Yeah.
If the government decriminalizes all drugs, everybody's gonna be autistic. Nobody's gonna be talking to each other. They're gonna be looking at the ground. Nobody's wearing sweatpants. It's the textures. They want denim. But yeah, no, I just remember like all the good times, all the friends I met just through buying drugs, and like weed mostly, but like just buying drugs in general, like all the people you meet. I remember this guy I used to buy my pills off of in college is in the Air Force now. He's like an Air Force, like, whatever, pilot.
Oh, God.
Airman, I don't know what the fuck
Was he deployed in Iran?
Yeah, he was deployed in Iran for 8 years, and he killed a bunch of kids and burned their village down. Fucking, fucking Lord of the Flies. No, but it's that's the thing too, is I feel like, we grew up in the perfect generation to be slightly withdrawn from technology. Like we grew up without all this social media and stuff. So we were lucky enough to have to deal with things head on.
It's very strange now. You see really young kids, year-old, with phones, and they know what they're doing on phones. Mm-hmm. You know, you give them a kid's YouTube app, and they know what they're fucking doing, and they're watching random videos and shit on YouTube.
Yeah, dude.
And even the kids' algorithm is weird.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we can get into that for like an hour, dude.
It was,
but it's strange that they know this stuff so early, and it's kind of like we're changing as people, and we're becoming more mechanical. And
there was this girl,
I'm not a fan,
probably like 10 years old or so, talking to these people and
it's evolution
stuff, and they asked my name, and I'm like, "Oh, I'm Cassidy," and she goes, "Oh, are you trans?" And no.
Not yet. Let me get my hands on those frauds, man.
That's a weird thing.
No, it's just like she was a little kid too, and I was just like, oh, okay, yeah, no,
yeah, you know, that's another really weird thing.
And like another thing too is, if I was trans, I wouldn't want somebody asking me if I was, you know, like if I was a female before, but I'm a dude now. Like I'm just a dude. I'm not trans. I'm a dude now.
But some of them
I like
do.
that. I like that whole. We talked about,
but I think some of them do, though. You know,
some
like I think some of them want to identify as a
identity
transsexual
or the attention. But like, that's why we were talking way back. Maybe you were on with us too. The whole bathroom thing that maybe wasn't a thing.
It gets into weird territory with that.
I feel like if you just let's say you were a girl and you transitioned to a guy who took the hormones. There's a girl that I knew growing up that's a man now that like you wouldn't even be able to tell. Like the hormone therapy she got or the hormone therapy he got was amazing. Mm-hmm. And it's like, even if somebody stopped you, you're just going to the bathroom.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, it's another thing where it's like, if I'm drunk at this point, I'll admit it. So this is going to get really fucking weird. Like, I just don't know how to articulate it. I'm just seeing pictures in my head now, and I'm trying to decipher that into English language. But basically, it's like if people that are trans or non-binary or whatever, they acknowledge that male and female gender norms are based in society.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it's like, I feel a lot of the confusion comes from wanting to be your own thing, but also wanting to be part of society. Mm-hmm. Because if you're not a part of the status quo, you're going to be outcasted.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So my thought is, I can't, and like we've said before, I can't empathize. I never had any questions about my identity or anything like that. I've always just done whatever. But it's like, if you don't want so much attention drawn, and if that makes you uncomfortable,
the problem,
why not just go with like what you identify as instead of making up all these other terms? Yeah,
that's exactly what I think. Is it gets into weird territory when you start.
It's like, why do you specifically want to be identify? I want people to know that I was a male to female. Well, you're like you said, you're a man now, so it doesn't matter what you were before. You know?
Right.
Yeah. There's a girl on YouTube I watched that does that. She was a boy, and then when she was like 18, she started taking these hormones. She's like 25 now, and like. Total smoke show of a woman.
It gets to be. You know, there was someone like on Change My Mind, the Steven Crowder thing. She was talking about how, like, it's an assault in a way to misgender someone. But
that's like misreligioning somebody, you know?
Here's something that actually happened to me the other day. I just started.
You definitely have more insight on this than we do.
I just started working at the Ren Fair at the Angel Sword booth, and I'm like setting up and getting the knives ready and everything, and I hear this dude Frankie talking and saying, hey, I was able to get on my hormones and stuff like that. And Frankie looks very feminine. Like, I would have thought that she was, or he was a she. Mm-hmm. And then I heard that. And then, so I was working and stuff like that. And I was just like talking, just making like, oh, where are you from? Blah, blah, blah. And I was just like, so I kind of said under my breath. So it was only me and her. I was just like, hey, so I heard you were talking about hormones and stuff like that. Or like, what pronouns do you want me to use? And his eyes lit up like, oh my God. And it was really cool to see that. And I'm a person, I don't get it. I'll admit, I'm not a person, I don't get it, but if it makes you feel happy, cool. It's not me going out of my way for anything.
See, the thing is, like, I'm totally fine with doing it. It's just a matter of like legislating it. You know, and making it be like, oh, like maybe you accidentally label someone wrong, and now. And
I will admit, it was even just throughout that conversation, just because of his image in my mind being so feminine,
Right.
it's so hard not to say she every single time.
Oh, yeah.
I'm literally like, it's like, I don't know. It's hard.
It's
so
the way that we've learned it. It's
Yeah.
just the way we have been for our entire lives.
and to expect people to change on a dime and just suddenly treat that as the normal to like
Yeah.
where
And to say
that's
someone's
a lot.
wrong for being the way they've always been
Yeah.
is kind of fucked up.
Yep. Like saying, like people being like, oh, well, if you don't think that trans women are real women, you don't want to have sex with a girl that has a penis. Well, that's on you. It's just like, okay, yeah, I'm fine with that being on me. That's just how I am, and okay, just being straight.
How big of a penis we talking? That's
Are we talking above 6.5?
it's got to be at least 6.2. I'll hop on that son of a bitch.
What is the average penis size?
Mine.
6
I hope
point
it's
something,
mine at
isn't it?
least.
It's gotta be around that.
I hope I'm the median.
I just want to be in the middle, you know?
Yeah, I want to be like the Baltimore Ravens of dick size,
Yeah. Just about like right at 500.
like the Memphis Grizzlies.
Yeah. It just gets weird when parents start talking to their kids about like what they want
Yeah,
to
my mom was
identify
talking to me
as
about
and
this
stuff.
a couple weeks ago.
I don't think they should decide until they're fully developed.
Well, they
you
were
know?
doing this thing where at FitU in 3rd grade that she was assistant teaching at everybody had their cubby, and their cubbies were either pink or blue. Mm-hmm. And like instead of making it like it's like they force the kids to
decide to pick a team,
because it's like you can't just I want a pink one, and it's
want a
like
green
well,
one.
the pink
Come on.
one's- they're like, well, the pink one's for girls, and it's are you a girl? It's like the fucking Nathan for You thing, dude. My mom was telling me about that. She's like, yeah, there's kids coming in. There's you know like little boys that come in that are like wearing girls' clothes, and then like a week later they come in wearing boys' clothes. And at the same time, it's like okay, maybe it's good to help them as they're young, because when you're younger, you learn things faster. You pick
I think
up
it
on
helps them
things.
recognize.
It helps
the
them
differences.
recognize the differences, yeah, and lets them identify what they're more comfortable with. But it's just such a new thing. It really is a new thing, and I think that's why it's so weird and why it's such a hot button topic.
It's also the fact that it's a hot button topic is the reason that so many kids are thinking about it.
That too. And also, it's like I bet you if we listen to like the early podcasts of us talking about gender, the more that we're learning about it and the more we're talking to other people about it, as annoying as it may be to bring it up all the time, you and I are both coming to like an understanding about it. Whereas before it was like we're cracking jokes and being dicks, but now it's like, okay, we kind of get where they're coming from.
I mean, I'll still crack jokes,
but also
if I want
cracking
to.
jokes.
It can, from what you were saying, it can be good and a bad thing. So now it's all in these kids' faces.
Yes.
The kids that were confused, that, like, you know, wouldn't have stumbled onto this stuff till later on in high school or whatever, but the entire time they're feeling this way. Or, you know, the kids that are just part of the fad. Because, I don't know, I was one of the kids that, like, yo, I'll wear skinny jeans and I'll wear all black and stuff like that, like, and trying to be goth and stuff like that because everybody else is.
Yeah, I'm gonna go to Hot
Everybody
Topic.
did that for a bit.
Yeah, because
So-
Hot Topic was the shit.
It is. Still is. That's where I bought this shirt.
So, the only thing is...
You can tell
and-
because it's so sticky.
and we all want people just be honest. And
Yeah.
But it's the thing is, like, look at it from, like, an outside alien perspective of, like, okay, these clothes aren't really anything. You know, it's all just these societal things that we've made. Mm-hmm. Like, really...
Clothes are just ads, dude.
Yeah.
We got
Nothing.
nothing on you, which is typical.
Yep.
We got no corporate sponsorships from Cassidy Barney. What a surprise! And then over here we got Dunder Mifflin Paper Company directly
It's just an ad for The Office.
directly in after the office, and then I have just Pink Floyd and their most recognizable logo.
Yeah, the one that everybody
Clothes
has.
are just ads, man. That's why you don't buy that designer shit, dude. You buy Wrangler jeans because of Brett Favre. And then you realize that they're garbage, so you go back to Levi 501s, and you're good. And you wear the same cargo shorts that have yours and your best friend's blood stained in them.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, going back to the
Now,
honest-
I have a family member who lost her mother to cancer, and she's under 18 years old, and she's thinking a lot about what she wants to identify as.
Uh-huh.
And I think that the trauma
Yeah.
has caused a lot of that
And
questioning.
Oh, definitely.
And also, is there a male figure in her life?
There is. Yes.
Okay. I wasn't sure if she's like all on her own now. Okay. So
It's
now
very sad.
Do you wanna
now
go to
she's
Rocky
part
Mountain
of the boy group where like living kind of like in a house of guys and stuff like that, you
It's
know.
just her and her father.
So yeah,
So I think
I could see that being an influence on there, and then trying to pull yourself by the bootstraps and being like, because there's this idea that women have that like, oh, men are this, you know, like men are this thing
you
that
don't
like,
have to articulate a point. You're just doing like women are like men are like this, and we'd be like, yeah, we know. We're men in our 20s.
men are like they can able to get all shit figured out, and like they think like, oh, if I'm a man now that I'm able to like be this like and then they talk about these gender stereotypes, and it's just like, yo.
Well, it's weird too because there's such a spectrum between men. Like you could be relatively feminine as a man and more relaxed and not willing to fight people, but you could also be like a Brock Lesnar.
You could be a butter boy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And fucking grope people at house parties and eat all the butter.
Yeah, there's a spectrum in both.
True story.
There's a spectrum
That's the whole
inside.
story. This dude was at a party. He groped a girl, got into an argument with her fiance, and then went inside, whined about it, and then ate all the butter out of the fridge by the stick. And then he went home.
What the fuck? That's disgusting.
Yeah.
Are we talking Land O'Lakes or what?
Salted. Price Chopper brand.
Wegmans butter.
But yeah,
But there's a spectrum in the spectrum. Like there's a spectrum on both ends
that's
of the
why they call
spectrum.
it a spectrum. You
Yeah.
fucking idiot.
Well, but it's like
Yeah, of course.
I mean,
There's fucking segments. It's like the light spectrum. You know, you got infrared, you got UV, you got what other lights are there?
X-ray.
You got Fate 7.
ultraviolet.
You got Droidica lights. No, I was gonna say I got into a really funny argument with my sister the other day about women's rights, and it was funny. It was funny to me because she's diehard women's rights and all that. Which I'm not saying it's just that's how she is. She's very. I'm proud of her. She's very progressive, and she has the youth and the energy to like want to do something about the things that she doesn't agree with.
Mm-hmm.
That's the problem now is like a lot of people don't.
Yeah.
Like they just want to bitch about it on social media instead of
she
actually
wants to
doing
change.
shit.
She goes to protests and rallies and stuff and writes letters and stuff like that. So as much as I make fun of her about it,
Which
she's
I mean,
doing a good job.
even if I don't agree with that, I mean, you still get credit.
Yeah, exactly. But we got into a discussion the other night. We were talking about abortion rights, and then there's a certain state that we talked about it. I think there's a state that put a tax on tampons.
That's weird.
What?
Yeah,
I don't remember
They
this.
put a tax on maybe it wasn't us, but I talked about this with somebody. But there was a state it put a tax on tampons, probably Arizona, because in Arizona they still don't celebrate Martin Luther King Jr. Day. So jot that down. So it's probably Arizona that is taxing women to buy tampons, which are like
I'd put my money on Utah.
or Utah even. Yeah, and they and so it's fucked up because you're putting a tax. It's like putting a tax on. Like it's not like a general tax. It's like a specific tax for like
Luxury.
It's
luxury items.
luxury. They're considered luxury items. Yeah. And so we're talking about that, and so we started talking about that, and started talking about abortions. Yeah, in prisons they don't. If you're a female in a prison, they don't give you tampons. You have to buy them with the money you make working at the prison, which is a whole nother can of fucking worms. Working in prison, get the fuck out of here.
Right. The prison system is a whole fucking.
McDonald's has their own prisons where that's how they make cheap labor and stuff like that. Make all their food cheap. They buy prisons, and then think about it. They'll be like, hey, arrest all these people, make all these laws illegal, so then we can arrest all these people for years, and then we got free labor. So
What?
that's part of the whole
I actually.
mass incarceration thing that's going on.
Jesus
See,
Christ.
yeah.
So yeah, we got in an argument, and we were talking about abortion. And so she's like, she goes, well, how do you feel about abortion? I go, I'm fickle. I go, I'm not a woman. So my opinion is purely biased. Like I have no idea what it's like personally. So it's like, I'm just going by anecdotes. I'm going by anecdotes and things I've read. So I was telling her, I go, it depends on what you consider life.
I mean,
That's
no
fine.
matter what, it's hard to have an unbiased opinion.
Yeah, for sure.
It's almost impossible, really.
And so I was telling her, I go, well,
Makes me sad, but I'm like, oh, it's that person's life. And
exactly.
like,
It's not like, if I don't want somebody to tell me what drugs I can and can't put into my body, I don't want to tell somebody what surgeries or procedures they can and can't get, is basically where I was going with it.
yeah.
So then we were talking, and I was like, yeah, I go, this is crazy. I go, I was just talking to Amanda, this girl I work with, who just had a baby. Congratulations, Amanda. Fuck off. You're leaving us short-staffed at work. You have to come back now. The place is on fire as we speak.
Yeah.
But so we were talking about that. She was telling me that after her second kid, 4 or 5 years ago, she wanted to get her tubes tied. And she's your guys' age. She's 25. So she wanted to get her tubes tied at 21. And they wouldn't let her do this because you have to have 2 out of 3 qualifications met, at least in New York State.
Mm-hmm.
You need to be either 26 years old, you need to be married, or you need to have had 3 or more kids.
Yep.
And since she was under the age of 26, she was unmarried, and she had only had 2 kids, she is not legally allowed to get her tubes tied in New York State. So I tell my sister that. My sister immediately responds by, well, yeah, but what if she meets a guy that wants babies? Why does it matter?
Yeah.
If the hill you're dying on is, don't tax tampons, let me get abortions, make birth control free.
Yeah.
You cannot also be like, well, you can't get your tubes tied. What if you meet a man?
Right.
Because that completely contradicts your whole anti-patriarchal mentality.
Well, yeah, but also that's probably a good safe barrier because people, especially in early 20s and stuff like that, are gonna do things like that's kind of permanent.
The only time
from
where I'd be
me
okay
being
with it.
21 to now me being 25,
Yeah.
I am a lot more clear-headed.
Yeah.
My only thing-
That's what's interesting to
I'd
me
appreciate that.
I want to know, are men allowed to get not vaccinated?
I think it's the same thing.
Are men allowed to get vasectomies? If it's the same rule for both.
I think it's this 3. If you have more than 3 kids and you got to be over, I'm pretty sure because
if
I know
it's not
somebody.
like that, then that's fucked up.
Yeah,
But because that was my first thought was, that would be my first thought. I think the law is unfair. Now
I just don't like the idea of making decisions when you're young and
it's
and
like
having them
being
be
able to put a 6-year-old on hormones. Hypothetically, I don't know if that happens.
well, or someone who's young deciding that they want to transition to at that age, and now eventually down the line maybe saying maybe I shouldn't have done that.
Yeah, it was like that whole thing where we were talking about sexuality and how I bounced between like heterosexual and bisexual, and then like in the middle. And back and forth, and I was just like,
It seems like that's just bisexual though.
yeah, probably, but I've never done anything with a dude.
Right.
I never even tried to, but I find men attractive.
But I think that
there's
alone,
a thing pansexual where you're attracted to all genders. Pan means everything, so like trans people of both sides, and which is like
which means you're just attracted to.
Yeah,
people.
just people. Yeah, which I respected that, but I know I'm not. Like, I just
like
sexually
you could have like
wise.
fucking Bradley Cooper walk in.
I don't know who that is.
That's that guy
You could
from
have
The
like
Hangover.
Dustin Hoffman walk in.
Don't know who that
Tom
is.
Hanks.
Tom
With
Hanks.
Maurice. You could have Tom Hanks walk in and be like, I want to make love to you. And you're like,
Yeah, no.
We thought about making that shirt.
Yeah, we thought about getting shirts.
The shirt that says
Tom
"fuck
Hanks
Tom
and
Hanks."
Maurice.
Tom Hanks.
Bleach ain't shit. That'd be so good.
We could.
$15,
We
dude.
should
$15
totally. We
ain't
should
bad.
totally do that and have like.
15
We should have like
$15.
Cass model them or Polly put those shirts.
We'll
like,
just have
put
our
the
own
pictures
store.
up on the site.
Online store. It's not a bad
Autographs for
idea.
$1. Send us
I
something.
mean,
we'll
$15
autograph it and
for
send it
shirts. We
back.
could turn around and sell them For 20?
Shit. Yeah.
$5 profit.
50.
If
Sell
you
it for
guys
50.
online want these shirts, let us know in the comments.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then we will immediately make them because we need money desperately.
We
We're
need money
living.
completely.
We're doing
I
this
have to get
from
my
a,
tubes tied.
we're doing this from a fucking dumpster right now. So.
Yeah, we're doing this from.
Oh shit! Yeah, we aren't recording.
No, that's not.
Oh yeah,
there's
we don't
no
do the
videos.
camera anymore. Yeah,
Why?
It's it's low quality.
Low
number
quality,
one.
too much to edit.
Yeah,
I
it's
mean,
a pain
I'm
in the
talking
ass.
out my ass. I don't do any
It is
work
too much to
outside
edit.
of talking on a
Yeah.
microphone. It's
He just
mostly
comes in
set.
and talks and then leaves.
Yeah, I drank all of his booze and go home. It's a pretty good setup.
Yeah, just too much. You know.
Yeah, it just got to be too much for me.
I mean, to be fair, I'm never asked to do anything. So.
That's true.
But, you know, it takes two to tango. And it only takes one to watch Django, and that's where I come in.
Yeah, I don't know. Like we just, I don't know. We don't get tons of YouTube video or YouTube views anyway, so it's like we get most of them just listens.
Yeah. We're
10 or 12.
Well, fuck it, we still just put the audio on YouTube, so
Yeah.
it's not a big deal. I
just a
don't think
picture of
people
my
care.
face the whole time.
Yeah, I don't think people care too much about seeing us anyway. It's not like we are very animated.
No, and I think if we ever get our hands on making a setup similar to like Joe Rogan or
Any of them
that have the multi-camera setup, we just need a young Jamie,
Somebody to edit the.
someone to switch between
Switch
cameras
cameras,
during
yeah.
the cast, or even if
I
we
thought
just
that
have,
would happen at the end. You just have
I
all
would say
three,
you would have all of them, yeah, and
and then you
have
just
all
like
of them
boop,
recording
bloop,
and then edit
bloop.
through.
Yeah.
But I mean, they even do the camera switching while they're live though.
oh,
It's
yeah,
got to be
that's
Jamie
true.
doing it.
Yeah, he has to.
But I mean, it's got to be simple enough. You just
Yeah.
press the button of the person talking,
Mm-hmm.
and I feel like
Yeah, they switch it over, and then they got a second where then whoever's talking, then they switch it over to him real
Yeah.
quick.
or even if it's like the way that the fighter and the kid is, where everybody is sitting in one frame,
They're sitting side by side. It's just
side
two
by
chairs.
side, and then the chair off to
And
the
then there's
side.
like a couch or whatever on the side. I mean, you could do that. I mean, that's basically what we were doing, but we weren't all facing the camera. Obviously.
Yeah.
All you need would be two cameras. One over this way and one coming that way.
Yeah, true. Or I could just sit over here and have a camera over there, and we'd all be facing that direction.
Have like a
have the
circle or
Chromecast
something.
framed right in the center.
Or have it be a corner, yeah.
Yeah, that's the ideal setup if you're going to do one camera. But yeah, at any rate, we just do audio.
Word. It's still fun.
I mean, it's more or less the same thing.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't even think about the camera when it's on, really.
Yeah.
You forget about it.
For bit points, we do.
Yeah.
Where like something happens, and like when we had fucking Heath on.
Yeah.
And every time he said something ridiculous.
And when you licked the, what the fuck were you licking that tasted like battery acid or some shit?
Was it a battery?
You licked something.
I don't remember.
No, it was like a Nintendo cartridge or something.
Oh yeah, it was the Switch cartridge, because Brian said that they make the plastic taste awful, so that way kids don't suck on them and choke on the cartridges. And I didn't believe him, so I took a Switch cartridge and I licked it, and it literally tasted like earwax.
That's not bad, though. That's not that bad.
Earwax, you know.
Yeah, it's just earwax.
Get the fuck out of here, both of you.
I wonder what I wonder if more people eat boogers than... It has to be more than earwax, right?
Yeah, it's closer.
Dude, no kid ever got caught eating earwax in school.
I mean,
Everybody
they didn't get
got caught eating.
I
You don't
never
get
got
caught.
caught.
Yeah.
Everybody got
'cause-
caught eating boogers.
I
Yeah,
usually
because
get
you
caught
get
eating
caught kicking your.
You get caught picking your nose.
But you
not
can't get. Look,
necessarily-
I'm picking my ear right now. You don't even know.
Right. You could
Put
just
that in
look
your
like
mouth,
you're...
Cassidy.
Yeah. I always do it with my pinky.
Yeah,
then you can get in there-
Yeah, it's
you
not
can get
gonna-
in there
Any
deeper.
other finger's not gonna fit.
Right. And then when
I
you
usually-
get a good chunk, then you're good. Then you
I
can
usually put my finger in there, and then I like create like an air suction, and I start going.
Yup.
And
That's what you gotta do.
loosens it up.
Yeah, it's
It's
like
like
you...
vaginas right now. What's going on?
Yeah, that's
Finger
what
in
it
my
is.
ear hole.
And then it queefs because you pushed all the air into it.
And the elevator.
Yo,
smells
I
like
found
garbage.
out. You guys know those ear candles?
Oh, yeah.
They're fake. They don't work.
Really?
Yeah, dude. I
Fuck
found.
you talking about?
You don't know what ear candles are?
No, you're saying this as if I'm supposed to know what they are.
Okay,
is that what
so
I think it is?
you can
like
get them.
Shrek?
You can get them at Green Planet, and it's pretty much like a cloth tube or cone about this long, and it's like that round at the end, and then goes down to like a point, and you put that point in your ear, and you're laying on your side, and you light it, and then what is supposed to happen is it's creating the suction, so the smoke is going down the tube and then sucking the wax out of your ear, and then when it gets all the way down, it's burned all the way down to almost your hand, you take it off, you unroll it, and holy shit, there's a bunch of wax. It looks like gross earwax, and like, oh my god, it works. Well, I burned one in my ear and burned one out of my ear, and they both have the same wax. It's all just it's beeswax, actually, that drips down.
So you didn't feel anything different when you were done with it?
It feels different, and I bet you it's because you're putting this cone in your ear, and the entire time I'm hearing this crackling, and I think it's because you're just hearing the amplification of the fire, so the whole 5 minutes that it's in your ear, you're just hearing crack, crack, crack from the pop of the fire, so I think it's making your ear, like, feel sensitive to that.
It's such a weird concept.
It was funny. I'm so happy.
From Shrek.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I was thinking of, like a candle you make out of earwax. I'm severely underwhelmed.
Yeah. Good.
You just use hydrogen peroxide, dude.
Yeah.
Now, if you collected enough earwax, you probably could make a candle.
I'm halfway there.
You know what I mean? If you put it in like a jar, let it solidify a little bit.
Use it on an oil burner.
Yeah. I should try that out.
You ever use hydrogen peroxide to clean your ears?
Clean wounds and stuff, not my ears though.
Yeah, you take you just buy that sketchy bottle of hydrogen peroxide that's all the same color. It's like that darkish brownish purplish bottle, like that hydrogen peroxide purple. And you just pour the cap in, and what you do is you tilt your head, you pour just a cap's worth of hydrogen peroxide in your ear, and then you put a little bit of toilet paper in, and then you tilt your head to the other side.
Oh.
I just want the satisfaction. Like, you know when you pull like a big goober out of your nose and you feel it in like the back of your nasal passage?
Apparently.
That's the feeling I want in my ears. Like, I want to feel that and just be
There's ear cleaning specialists that do that.
Really?
Yeah.
Dr. Morgan does it at Oswego Family Physician. It's the craziest shit. So I use expired.
We should hit him up, dude.
Yeah.
I used expired.
He is clean.
I went to clean my ears like 2 years ago after college, and the ear drops I used were expired. And it fucked my ears up. It fucked this ear up. It wasn't my left one. My right one was fucked, and I couldn't hear out of it for like 2 days, and then it was fine. And it was fine for like a week, and then like I woke up the next morning and I was completely deaf out of the ear. It was ringing. And it's like one of those fucking nasal cleaners, but for your ear, and it's just. And it sucks it all up. And there's so much wax in your ear, you have no idea. It's the most disgusting shit.
Have you seen that nasal cleaner that like supposed to shoot water like
it doesn't
through
work.
your nasal?
It doesn't work. My dad has
the guy on H3. You know what H3 is?
Yeah.
He did it on on one of his videos. He couldn't even like get through it. Like immediately as soon as he turned it on, he was like fucking shooting water out of his nose.
Well, it's like a neti pot.
Just shoots water up your nose.
It's supposed to be like a mechanical neti pot, and neti pots are super simple to use unless you're a pussy.
Yeah.
You ever use one of those?
Yeah.
They're fantastic. You ever use a neti pot?
I think so.
It looks like a tea kettle. It's ceramic, and you mix a saline solution. You pour it in your ear, and you tilt your head. And it just, dude, it feels so good. It goes all the way up. It goes like to the middle of your forehead, and then it builds up, and then it just flushes down like Splash Mountain down your face. And it's just globs. And a lot of people think it doesn't work because it's clear, but most of your mucus is clear.
Yeah.
It's only supposed to be like...
If you're sick and infected.
If you're sick, it'll be really bad color. Like, if you're sick and you use a neti pot, you're in for a fun 10
Well,
minutes,
I mean, the
dude.
shit in your nose is just like shit that your nose hairs are catching and shit like that.
That's like 90% of it, yeah.
Yeah. So I should just keep... I'm just trying to build
I have
some
nasal spray
boogers.
that I use.
I'm just
every
trying to
now
build
and then.
boogers up.
Because randomly my
Getting a
nose
good
will just
one.
be completely like compacted. So
Saving
I have
it.
that no
Push
drip,
it up more. Build
that
it.
no drip like gel nasal spray. You ever use that stuff? You shoot it up your nose, and then you're clear for like an hour, and then it builds up again. So you blow your nose, and it's just the nasal spray coagulated. It comes out like a fucking paintball gun.
I just want to save up my boogers long enough to where like I can barely breathe.
When I used to do a lot
Baseball
when I used to snort a lot of pills, I would save my boogers and dry them out on my fucking ceramic desk or my fucking plexiglass desk.
Dry them out.
Yeah, I'd blow my nose onto my desk, let them dry out, and then I'd cut the lines back up and snort my own boogers to see if there was any drugs on them. But I'm clean now. All I do is drink Miller High Life and jerk off in my window, so I'm good.
In your window?
Yeah, and into it.
Oh.
Huh. That's interesting.
Do you ever do that?
Not
Snort
on.
your boogers?
Nope.
No?
He snorted a lot of things, but not his boogers.
Not my own boogers, yep.
I mean, you might have gotten
that's
some.
real recycling.
I'm sure you have gotten boogers, though. Like, you know what I mean? Like, just on,
Yeah,
on principle. Like,
but I didn't know it.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, I just got sick of blowing my nose and seeing little bits of pink in there, and I'm like, no, that's oxycodone that could have gone inside
Dude,
of me.
I love when you plug one nostril and breathe in really hard, and then you can feel it go down your throat.
Yeah.
Like taste what you basically are eating boogers right there.
Snot rockets are good, man. They're always so satisfying.
I think it's so weird, like the way your the way your nose and your mouth are connected, like to taste things and shit.
Yeah, like
most
when
of
you're a little
flavor-
kid, you're like, wow, I have 2 holes to
Yeah.
breathe with like that. And
Like-
one of them
like-
is to smell kinda and it's taste.
I have 2 holes. Well, most of what you taste is coming from your nose.
Sorry.
He's like,
Hey, when you're a kid.
When you're a kid, you're like, wow, I have 2 holes.
it is true.
I do.
Some
Girls
say they
have 3.
Yeah.
Girls have 3, that's what I knew. They got one for the baby coming out.
I mean,
I didn't know how it got in there. I just knew that's
comes
where
out.
it came out.
It comes
That's where
out.
I came.
Remember the first time you learned where babies came from and you just thought it was the most unbelievable bullshit of all time?
Yeah, the stork.
No, like when you really figured it out. Like, I remember my buddy Zach.
Do people actually tell their kids that there's a stork?
My
Like, what the
parents told me
fuck?
that
A fucking stork. Who the fuck came up with that shit in the first place?
Christians.
It's actually true.
My parents would never. They always dodged that topic. I'd be like, Mom, Dad, where do babies come from? And they'd be
Eggs.
like, well, in your case, they come from the lawyer.
Yeah, it's
No, I remember reading a book. They had the anatomy book in fucking like 5th grade, and I remember my buddy Zach took it out of the library and we looked at it, and it showed like step by step, like vivisection diagrams of sexual intercourse. And we were like, "That's the most retarded shit." And then
I
like,
thought that, like, it was like, oh, okay, in the morning your dick gets hard, and then I thought you just stick it in and then you piss in them.
And then that was it, yeah.
I thought, like, your
yeah,
morning...
that's how fish do it.
I thought your morning piss was, like, how you get them pregnant.
Yeah, because
And
your
then-
morning piss was always like clear as a kid.
Yeah. And I was like, yeah, oh, wow. You just go in, you piss, and
I
then...
always thought it was like a contact thing, you know? Like they just kind of know that
Yeah,
they're
I
touching
always
each
thought
other.
you used to be able to just like rub up against it.
Right, that's
Like-
why I
like
thought...
trying to
that's
light
why,
a match.
Yeah, that's why people were supposed to use condoms, because then they wouldn't actually touch.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I mean, you're not.
But it's not
too
a
far
contact.
off.
Right. I mean, that's pretty close. I mean, contact is a pretty important part.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess you could basically rub one out and then stick it in at the end, like an opposite of a pull-out method. You know what I mean?
A rub-in method.
Yeah, yeah. It's like you do the work yourself, but then you just shoot it in afterwards.
Yeah. I'd imagine being a bigger person and doing that.
Yeah.
Like a bigger person, like confidently.
No. No, I mean, like
a fat person.
a fat person.
You could
yeah.
say fat. It's okay.
Right.
Well,
yeah,
yeah.
I guess because you like sometimes maybe you wouldn't be
Like,
able to reach.
morbidly obese
Husky.
person, I'd say.
All right.
You could be a dog person.
You're just like, I'm not, yep, nope. We're just
I always get confused with morbidly obese people.
morbid. Morbid, evilly obese.
Like when you think of the word morbidly, like you're thinking of something morbid, obviously. But when you think of the word morbid, you're thinking of like
Morbid.
morbidity.
Yeah, like terrifyingly obese.
Like
Shockingly.
Yeah, like
Dangerously.
I mean,
like I think of dangerous. Like this is a morbid activity.
yeah.
you're evilly
Wendy's.
fat.
Yeah.
Well, we're at an hour and a couple minutes.
Oh yeah, you guys want to hear about my swords that I've
Yeah,
been
we can do
selling?
that. All right, we'll be back in a minute. Clear Shots is available on any of your favorite podcast platforms. ClearShotsPodcast.com is the best place to find all of our social media links. You can find us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter at ClearShotsPod. Thank you for listening, and we will see you next time.